Goldberg. Yeah, we're looking at Goldberg. Hello there, I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com and welcome to How WWE Should Have Booked, where I look back at infamous WWE missed booking opportunities and talk about how I would book them differently because I'm a smartass. This week we're going to look at Goldberg. Yeah, we're looking at Goldberg. What happened in WWE in 2003 where they hired Goldberg? He came in and destroyed everyone, including The Rock, Chris Jericho, 3-minute warning, Lance Storm, Christian. So basically he went on a mini undefeated streak until SummerSlam, where he was beaten in an Elimination Chamber match by Triple H despite annihilating everyone else in the match. Then at Unforgiven he beat Triple H for the championship, retained it at Survivor Series, and then lost it at Armageddon in a triple threat match. He lost the Royal Rumble match because of Brock Lesnar, speared Brock Lesnar at No Way Out, and then fought him at WrestleMania in one of the worst WrestleMania matches of all time, with the entirety of Madison Square Garden booing the two men out of the building because both men were leaving the company the next night. Oh dear. Goldberg had 1 year in the company, and it was sort of disappointing because, well, first of all, they just tried to rehash his undefeated streak, you know, the whole who's next thing, and then that annoyed people, and then he was handed a bunch of losses, which annoyed everyone else, and then, yeah, it petered out with one of the worst matches in WrestleMania history, so, oops, I can do it better. So, when looking at how to book Goldberg, you have to look at what he's good at. And what's he good at? He's good at brief bursts of power. He's good at spearing people. He's good at doing this. And what's he bad at? Well, he's bad at talking, he's bad at wrestling for more than 10 minutes, and he's bad at not crippling Bret Hart. So we'll have him not do any of those things, and we'll accent the positives. So let's say we book Goldberg for 6 matches in the WWE. That's all. 6. He doesn't do any Raw matches, he's just main events. Because we don't want to overexpose him and have people being bored of him before he actually gets to do some good work. 6 matches, and what's Goldberg's agenda? His agenda is not championships, he doesn't go after any titles, so Vince doesn't resent this WCW guy coming in. His one goal is to cripple WWE superstars. He's brought in by Eric Bischoff, who is the Raw manager at the time. He's brought in with a secret agenda: kill everyone you can find. And this makes him a heel. Now the thing is, Goldberg wins a lot of matches and he's already, he's going to walk into the company and be pushed to the top spot. People are naturally going to resent him for that, so why not make him heel, grab that heat and make it nuclear. So to start with, he debuts after WrestleMania, turns up after WrestleMania and spears a top star. But who does he spear? Not The Rock. He spears The Undertaker. He never speaks. He barely speaks at all throughout his entire run. If preferably, I would not have Goldberg say one word during his year at the company. He turns up, spears The Undertaker, jackhammer, end of Raw. Then at Backlash, it turns out Undertaker's got broken ribs, but damn it, he wants Goldberg's ass. And the Raw before the pay-per-view, again, Goldberg blindsides The Undertaker. Doesn't talk, just spears him into something horrible. Maybe spears him through a sheet of glass, or through like a thin wall. Something like that. Anyway, Goldberg attacks Taker before the pay-per-view, so Backlash comes around, Undertaker turns up with his ribs heavily taped, okay? So he is in a bad way, but he's still going to go on with it because he's the American badass, and Goldberg runs over him, spears him, jackhammers him, 1, 2, 3, and he just turns to the camera and holds up 1. The next night on Raw, you don't see him. In fact, you don't see him for ages. The commentators are sort of, hey, what's going on? And this starts the period of basically, he turns up, goes after a WWE guy, then disappears for 2 months. So every 2 pay-per-views, we have Goldberg. So a few weeks pass and no one knows what's going on. Then in the weeks leading up to Bad Blood, Chris Jericho's in the ring, then suddenly out of nowhere, bang! Boom! Goldberg spears him out of nowhere. He wants Chris Jericho at Bad Blood. And Chris Jericho's like, I want no part of Goldberg, okay? I am not next. I remember him from WCW. I don't want this. He goes to Eric Bischoff saying, hey Bischoff, so I don't want this match at Bad Blood. Can you get me out of it? And Bischoff says, no, I booked the match. And Chris Jericho says, for God's sake, man, why? And Eric Bischoff says, do you remember 1999? So at Bad Blood, Jericho is crushed by Goldberg. Goldberg turns to the camera. So now everyone's panicking. Eric Bischoff has set this crazy animal loose in the company, and who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Shawn Michaels turns up just before SummerSlam. He's like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm next. I know what Goldberg's up to. He's just trying to cripple WWE, guys. Well, I'm Mr. WWE. I never left. Goldberg, come at me, bro. Eric Bischoff comes out and says, you want Goldberg at SummerSlam? You got it. Turns around, bang! Goldberg, you monster! He looks down at Shawn Michaels, does and then he picks him up and jackhammers him through the announce table. So SummerSlam turns up, and again, because of these nagging injuries, Shawn Michaels is again beaten by Goldberg. Spear, jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. Survivor Series is next, and this time Goldberg decides he wants the WWE champion. Not the championship. He doesn't care about that belt. In fact, he stamps on the belt, spits on it. If it's not WCW, he doesn't want it. But he wants Brock Lesnar. And that's the thing, people are saying, Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. No, that was a nightmare match. Well, no, actually, this was the match that everyone wanted until they actually got it, because they realized both men were leaving the company and were both, quote, selling out. But if you have it at Survivor Series, neither men are leaving the company, everyone's excited. So Survivor Series, Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. It's an absolute slugfest, and finally Goldberg manages to pin Brock Lesnar. He's unstoppable. Also, later on this same pay-per-view, Survivor Series, Goldberg interferes in the Team Bischoff versus Team Austin match. He's the one who interferes, not Batista. He spears Shawn Michaels, and this helps Bischoff banish Austin from the company. So Goldberg is a proper heel now. Him and Bischoff ruling the roost. Then it comes down to the Royal Rumble. Who's next? This time it's Eddie Guerrero's turn. How does this match get set up? Do you remember back in WCW where Eddie Guerrero cut a vicious promo on Bischoff and management and all the things wrong with WCW? Well, we're having another one of those. Eddie Guerrero corners Eric Bischoff and says, you're not going to do to this company what you did to WCW, slaps Eric Bischoff, and then Eric Bischoff says, okay, fine, sends a little text. Then Eddie Guerrero is walking down a corridor. We see Goldberg appear behind him. Goldberg runs for him. Eddie Guerrero turns around, smashes him in the head with a chair. Eddie Guerrero trapped him. It's a trap. So then the match is set. Eddie Guerrero versus Goldberg at the Royal Rumble. And beforehand, Brock Lesnar corners Eddie Guerrero and says, what the hell are you doing? If I couldn't beat Goldberg, what the hell chance does a guy like you have? Eddie Guerrero says, hey man, I'm gonna do what you never could, and slaps Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is furious. So at the Royal Rumble, it looks like Eddie Guerrero is going to cheat his way into beating Goldberg. Unfortunately, Brock Lesnar comes out, interferes, Goldberg hits the spear, the jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. So because of Brock Lesnar's interference, Eddie Guerrero and Brock Lesnar, they're set up for No Way Out. There's no interference from Goldberg this time. Instead, Eddie Guerrero just cheats to win against Brock Lesnar, becoming the WWE champion, and those two have a rematch at WrestleMania before Brock Lesnar disappears, which would not be a bad match because no one would want Brock Lesnar to win that. They'd want Eddie, and they'd be super, super happy for him. So that's what happens with Brock Lesnar and Eddie. At WrestleMania with Goldberg, though, beforehand, Goldberg and Eric Bischoff comes out. Goldberg has not said a single word, and Bischoff just says, Goldberg has beaten all of your heroes. Who is left for Goldberg to beat? And then we hear this music. Out comes the Olympic hero, Kurt Angle. He says, buddy, you ain't never beaten me. I am the wrestling machine, and I challenge you to a match at WrestleMania. It's the perfect match. The wrestling machine versus the thug. Brute strength versus technical brilliance. And it's an amazing match. Also, people are invested because Kurt Angle's not going anywhere. The match itself is brilliant. Kurt Angle out-wrestles Goldberg, carries him to a brilliant match. If anyone could do it, Kurt Angle can do it. And he forces Goldberg to submit to the ankle lock in the middle of the ring. He taps out, and that is the last we see of Goldberg. So he's had a year in the company. He wrestled 6 high-profile matches. He was a big draw, got a lot of money out of Goldberg, and no one got sick of him. He had a clear agenda all the way through, never muddied his run with any titles. He just went out and did what he did best, which is beat people using ferocious offense and not saying a damn word. And that is how I would book Goldberg in the WWE. Do you disagree? If so, tell me about it in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you can even follow me on Twitter. Here, I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and I'll see you soon.